All right, time for us to go behind the headlines, and we're headed back to my home state of Idaho, where the Senate there is debating SCR 112, a Senate resolution from Senator Chuck Winder, Republican of Boise, to declare that it's the policy of the legislature that Idaho should never legalize marijuana for any purpose. Now, this is always kind of strange to me to say never legalize marijuana for any purpose. Okay, suppose aliens invade and they say the only reason they'll leave our planet is if we give them marijuana. Then we shouldn't, never, ever legalize marijuana? That's pretty severe. According to Winder, he says, quote, "What's happened, as all of you are aware, the state of Washington has legalized or is in the process of legalizing medical marijuana as well as recreational marijuana," end quote. Well, no, Senator, they legalized medical marijuana back in 98. They just legalized recreational marijuana, and they're getting around to that. He also continued to say, quote, "Oregon still has medical marijuana. Idaho has seen increasing marijuana busts on its interstate freeways," Winder said. "It's impacting our communities. It's impacting citizens of Idaho. It's impacting our children." What about the children? He also said, quote, "It's a significant problem. There's an effort nationally going on to legalize marijuana, not only for medical purposes, but for recreational purposes, and Idaho is one of those targeted states." He urged the Senate to basically stand up for our state and say that we don't want legalized marijuana. Now, the Democratic Senate Minority Leader, that's a permanent position in Idaho, by the way, Democrat Senate Minority Leader, Michelle Stennett from Ketchum, noted the Republican Party in her district successfully pushed 3 pro-marijuana city initiatives, that's in Haley, but they've not taken effect because marijuana remains illegal. She also said that this resolution chases ghosts that haven't appeared yet in anticipation that they might. Right? The old solution in search of a problem. She says, quote, "The part that disturbs me with this resolution is its overreach." She says it dismisses the concern of cancer patients who find immediate relief from the nausea of chemotherapy treatment from smoking marijuana, enabling them to eat and avoid malnutrition. Quote, "Please do not dismiss this," end quote. Well, I just wanted to take a look at the scare here because, Idaho is kind of surrounded, as it were. On its western border, you got Washington State with legalization and medical. You got Oregon with medical. On its southern border, you got Nevada with medical. On its northern border, you got Canada with federal medical marijuana. On its eastern border, you got Montana with medical. In fact, the only way you can get out of Idaho without touching a medical marijuana state is to go through Wyoming or Utah, out of the southeastern corner of the state. So, has there been a big problem with marijuana in Idaho now that, there's all these states with all this access and, like you said, all these busts on the freeways? Oh my goodness. Well, you know me. I look stuff up. It's what I do. And so I took a look at the National Surveys for Drug Use and Health, which has this very particular setting now that you can look up, which is the 2-year RDAS. Now, just to give you what that is, the 2-year summary of the results from the National Surveys on Drug Use and Health. And it's broken down into 5. This one has 5 different sets of data that we can look at. 2002 to 2003, 2004 to 2005, 2006 to 2007, 2008 to 2009, and 2010 to 2011. So over the span of this, we basically got a decade worth of information that we can look at. And the nice thing about the RDAS is it breaks it down by state. The other, the main national survey just breaks it down by, ages and gender and race. This one actually breaks it down state by state. So you can get an idea of the trends from state to state. And I thought to myself, I wonder what the trends in Idaho have been. This span between 2002 and 2011, massive growth in the medical marijuana industry, and the number of patients from 2002 to 2011 in Oregon at least has gone up, 5-fold, I believe. So with all this medical marijuana and all these busts and all this stuff going on, we certainly should have seen some sort of change in the data, right? Well, let's take a look, folks. First of all, we take a look at the 12 to 17-year-olds, right? Because according to Senator Winder, this is affecting our children. What about the children? We got to make sure that we pay attention to the children. Well, According to the National Surveys on Drug Use and Health for the data received in 2002 or 2003, 79.9% of Idaho children had never smoked pot. That's 4 out of 5, right? 80%, 79.9. 4 out of 5 kids aged 12 to 17 in Idaho have never smoked pot. What is it in 2011? After 10 years, after all this medical marijuana coming through the state, after all these states popping up around it, how bad is it now? 82.2% of 12 to 17-year-olds have never smoked pot. That's right, fewer Idaho kids are smoking pot now than in 2002 when we started taking a look at this stuff. But what about the ones that are, the addicts, right? The kids getting addicted to the marijuana, using it often, like say within the past 30 days, monthly use? That too has gone down. In 2002, it was 8.2%. It is now coming in at 7.9% for the 2011 data. But maybe Senator Winder wasn't talking about the kids. Maybe he was talking about the college kids, right? Your 18 to 25-year-olds, your Boise State Broncos, go Big Blue. How's that changed? Well, indeed, more college-age kids are smoking pot in Idaho over the past 10 years. It was 11.7% back in 2002. It's now up to 14% in 2011. But overall, are more college kids smoking pot in Idaho? Afraid not. 51.4% of aged 18 to 25-year-olds had admitted they had never used marijuana in 2002. By 2011, that's gone up to 53.1%. Fewer young adults are using pot in Idaho. Finally, for the age 26 and older, we see that the marijuana use has gone up across the board. Where it used to be people older than 26 was 53.9% of them had never used. It's now down to 52% have never used. For those that used within the past 30 days, it used to be 3.2%. Now it's up to 6.6%. So yes, Senator Winder, if there is a problem with marijuana and more access to it in the state of Idaho, then you can lay it at the feet of people who are over the age of 26, where the regular use has more than doubled. But to try to say, what about the children? This is something we need to protect the kids from? This is adults 26 and older. But then again, maybe he's afraid of that. Maybe he's got a problem with adults using something that's safer than alcohol. You never know what these Republicans are thinking. Hey, I'm going to smoke some weed, see if I can figure it out. Be right back.
Oh, have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. If he said he swam to China, he would sell you South Carolina. Then you know you're talking to that reefer man.
Bomb.
What's happening, cool cats? This is Big Daddy, and I want you to cruise on over to the Funky Roller Rink. We'll be grooving all night long.